Good morning and welcome to Redefining Real Estate. I'm Brian Dobbs. We have a great show prepared for you today. We have a great group of people and super excited about getting this started. So, Lyndon, I want to introduce one of my really good friends and co-host and coach, and you've been a lot of different things in your real estate career, Lyndon, and I can just tell you. I benefit and value our relationship as well as I grow and I learn. And you talk me off the ledge quite a bit. I appreciate that. So, Lyndon Wilson, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Brian. I really enjoy doing the show with you. What you have, your vision of redefining real estate, what you have started, and what I've seen already. I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited about the guests today. There's some fantastic people. So looking forward to getting this going and hearing what you guys have in store for redefining real estate next.
Absolutely. So let's bring in our guests today. We have Kendra, Lori, and Sima.
Let me get her in here.
Good morning, Sima.
Hello, Lyndon.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kendra.
Hi,
Lori.
morning.
Fantastic. Well, guys, we talked about building a team. We've talked about redefining real estate, I'll preface this: redefining real estate. I have been in the industry for 25 years. Recently, switched gears, got my license, now working with buyers and sellers. But I have seen trends in the industry that absolutely we could all raise our hand and say, you know what, we could probably do that better, or you know what, we really need to change that, or that's working really well. And I know we have all of that. But let's talk about building a team. So if you are a buyer or a seller, how important is it to build your team prior to going into a real estate process or the transaction or beginning in that? Or is it even important to build it prior? Should you just build it while you're in there? So let's start off with that on how important is it for you to build your team from a buyer-seller standpoint? Is it to build your team prior to?
So it's extremely important to have a team, someone you can share everything that you're doing with. Having a team means you can, all of you can specialize in doing different things. You can focus on everyone's strengths and create synergy around those strengths, and use your own strengths to make up for your teammates' weaknesses. So together, it's just a lot more powerful, I feel.
Awesome. What do you think, Kendra?
Honestly, when we see some of our lenders and our realtors that are the most successful, it's because they have built a team. And I call them power players. They're team members who they can call on and they'll refer people to. We don't just give one, we do give a few out because we have to be fair to all. But someone calls and asks for some type of vendor, I'm not going to give them somebody I don't know. I will give them somebody that I have spoke with, I've met with, I've already sent business to, and that they are also referring us. It's kind of like a co-mutual beneficial relationship. But honestly, it's your power team. It's your power players that literally, they are in it to win it. They are the people that their job is not a job, it's a career. It's their livelihood. It's their work. They own it. So the realtors that really, really are very successful, they have team members that they've on their staff, but they have team members that are all the vendors that make up the cog in the wheel of real estate, who they know who to send you to. They know 2 or 3 people to send you to, and they're going to tell you something about each of those people. And they're going to also say, if you need me to, I'll make an introduction. I will gladly email, text, and make an introduction for you. But I think it's crucial because once you really step up to that, that top tier where you're really working to make money and to do well and to provide for your family, you want to be in control of every aspect of that transaction. know which title company you send it to, know your escrow officer, know the office, know that they'll answer the phone after hours, or a couple people will. You want to know who you're working with.
What are your viewpoints, Lori?
So I agree. I think, building rapport with your partners is important. And it's not just about sending business. To me, having a team, being a part of a team, it's knowing them on a personal level as well, right? Knowing what they value in life, their core values, what makes them happy, their idea of success, because that's who you want to partner with, right? You want to partner with like-minded people who are on the same mission as you, who believe in service first, right? Going above and beyond for the customers, because at the end of the day, the team you're working with, if you refer them business or, they help you with anything, that's your reputation on the line as well. You want to make sure that, when you're introducing them to, whether it's clients, family members, other partners, that it's somebody who's going to represent you well.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to key in on is the personal relationship level. I think that, Lori, right there, and agreeing with you, Kendra, as well as Sima, that personal relationship takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes effort to be able to get to know them. So in order for us to connect others, shouldn't we have that relationship already mapped out, where we do know each other and we're able to connect our customers, our clients, our buyers and sellers, investors, etc., with the right teammates that actually, and we can talk about them not just in their skill set and their professionalism, but also their character, their integrity, their likes, their dislikes. Hey, listen, you're really going to want to get to know this person on a personal basis. And I don't know, I'm not saying that it's not done, but I think that it's something that definitely we could work on. Do you guys agree or disagree? Talk to me a little bit about building that personal relationship. Kendra, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
I know you're going to go second.
It is quite important to build that personal relationship. Now, here's the other trick to this, is you really need to know your audience. You need to know who you're working with. You may have a realtor or a lender or or a title person or an inspector who they're so busy that they don't really want one-on-one, or they may want to do it once. They don't need you to take them to dinner or lunch or drinks, whatever. They just want to know that you all are going to do the job that you promise you're going to do. And they're going to want to meet some of the staff in your office. They're going to want to know all the key players. So it's almost like you really have to get to know the person first and figure it out and be able to read people and to read what their needs are. And that means literally asking them, what can I do, that somebody else hasn't done? What, in my case, I'm entitled, but on the National Title McKinney office, and my role, I need to know, okay, if you're using X title company, what have they not done for you? Or what aren't they doing? Or what could they do better? To kind of get an idea of where those people are at. So, and honestly, it is important. And to build that relationship. When I build a relationship with our realtors and lenders, I will call them all the time. I'll bug Lori all the time. I bug just to keep up. And it's not bugging. We're friends. And I honestly tend to socialize with with many of my clients that are my realtor friends and my lender friends and my warranty friends. And it's just like you kind of go to like-minded people. And then what happens is they start referring other people like that to you. So it is, but you have to know your audience. You need to know, are they someone that wants that, needs that, or they just want somebody that they're just on business. So you really need to kind of.
Awesome. Because I teach the DISC assessment a lot, and we're looking at communication styles, we're looking at preference styles, we're looking at personalities, and absolutely, I think you need to match that. Sima, what are your thoughts on that? How do you build that personal relationship?
Well, Brian, I mean, I've been a realtor for over 15 years, and I think I'm in touch with probably at least 80% of my clients. And to me, my client is not just someone who's going to be in and exit out of my life. right after the purchase of their real estate. But these are lifelong relationships for me. They are nurtured. We are there for them if they need anything. They reach out. They travel and they bring back gifts. And so it's not really about the gifts, but it's the gesture and the token. It signifies the relationship that has been built with the clients, because they consider you their well-wisher, and which is exactly what you want to be. You want to be your client's well-wisher. You want to nurture these relationships. You want to do the best for them. You want to guide them and be their advisor and be their friend. And you want to make sure that whatever you are doing for them, it is in their best interest. And what you do for them is exactly what you will do for yourself as well.
Absolutely. And I like that. I wrote down 4 words right there, Sima, for that: lifelong. And I know with all 4 of us, that really bears witness. And I know that that's true for each one of us, because I've known you guys for a while. Nurtured, appreciation. And I know that you didn't say that directly, but your clients do appreciate you, especially when they bring you back a gift, Sima, which is awesome. But I think in relationships also, there's a reciprocity. There's a reciprocal aspect of that where we want to nurture, but they also return an appreciation and gratitude, and it builds on that. So, Lori, let me hear your comments on what are specific things that you're doing to build those personal relationships.
So to me, like I said, in the previous question, it's all about personal, right? Building that personal relationship. I love having one-on-ones with my partners where we're not talking business, or they're not asking for business, right? It's more about, how's your family? What are your kids up to? How's everybody doing through this pandemic? Seeing how I can help them on the personal level, reaching out, when I know they're going through things. To me, I think that's important, right? I value those partnerships. They come to me and they know, my daughter's name. They ask me how she's doing, in school, in soccer. They know my family member was sick or something, and they just care. They genuinely care. It's not about, what are you going to do for me, or what are you going to send for me, or send to me. But I believe just meeting up. One-on-ones are super critical in our business. You get to know each other personally, professionally. You follow their pages, you follow their success, and you know exactly who to partner with.
That's awesome. I know that I go over 3 things. Typically, it's impacting families, building better neighborhoods, and stronger communities. And I know that when we have that personal relationship, we actually get to impact or influence or reach out to businesses, to business owners, to families, to schools, to recreational areas, economic development. I mean, you're looking at government, you're looking at new construction, you're looking at land developers. There are so many different facets in the real estate transaction that I really believe it's critical to build that team. Not only are you building a team around you as a professional, which I totally agree with, and I think it is imperative to our success, but being able to translate that and build that professional circle around the buyer or seller is equally as important and critical to their success. Not just giving them, and I know we're supposed to give them multiple contacts, but our multiple contacts should have that same heart chord for someone to decide. So now when I give someone a referral and say, hey, listen, call these 3, they're fantastic. It's now it's a matter of who do they resonate with the best. Is that how you guys are building your teams around the buyer and seller? Because I think that is equally as critical to their success, impacting families, building stronger neighborhoods, building better communities. So we look at that. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why is it important for us, one, to build a relationship, get the rapport with our client, and then build that build our team, like a mini MINI team around that client?
So specifically with my clientele, I work with, I would say probably 60% of my clientele is, Hispanic families. And to me, what I want them to know from the beginning is that transaction is going to be in their language that they're comfortable with, from the beginning to the end of the transaction. So anybody that's involved, whether it's an inspector, title company, appraisal, anybody that's touching the hand of that transaction, has to speak that language. So that's the one thing that I look for in partnerships. And Kendra knows this as well, working with a title company. That's the first question I ask. Do you have somebody that's a bilingual speaker that's going to be able to translate this to them? Because it is the biggest transaction of their life. I want them to walk away and be comfortable and know exactly all the paperwork that they signed, and not have any questions afterwards, and just feel like, we catered to them specifically, by bringing all of these partners. When I choose the team to work with on each transaction, it is based on personality. It's based on what the client needs. And that's why, I have built my toolbox of partners with different personalities, different things that they can offer so that I have options with different clients.
Absolutely. Sima?
I think, especially these times that we are currently going through, I think especially what COVID is teaching us, that the dynamics of everything has to be redefined. And, literally what your show is, Brian, redefining real estate. I think everything has to be redefined. Client and doing the best for them, building these relationships, providing them value. They rely on you, they trust you. And, you building this team around, building this team and providing them with the best possible, that you feel that you can rely on, you can trust, a team of people that can ease their transaction. When I start working with my clients, it's very important for me that the whole transaction is smooth, as smooth as it can possibly be. Literally, like just something that happened last night. I mean, my brother called me. It was like 10 o'clock in the night, and he said, "Hey, a friend of his is on the line, and his brother was on the line who is buying this house in Lubbock, and whose calls that agent that he was using in Lubbock wouldn't answer, and he was getting really frustrated. And this is 10 o'clock in the night, so." I was driving. I tried to tell them that, okay, you know what, maybe this is what it is. Maybe there's a contingency, then what the contingency was about, trying to put them at ease. And they're not even my clients, but they are, you just want to give value because that's who you are as a person. Put them at ease. By that time I got home, I Googled the house, because of course this is a different city, 4 hours away, whatever information I could find. And I was like, okay, you know what, it says on there that there's a contingency. Maybe this is why your agent isn't calling you. But he was just so frustrated, from the process. A new home buyer buying for cash, a property that's 370, agent not responding to them. So for me, this is just very important to have these. When you build these relationships, clients end up becoming family, and you are there for them. You are there to put out any fires. You're there to put them at ease and provide as much value as you possibly can with your team, especially if they are local, where for me, where I'm working.
Absolutely. So Kendra?
So I think, one of the things is I enjoy connecting people. I enjoy, this is something I like to do, is if somebody needs something or they're looking for someone to help assist them, I enjoy the fact that I usually can find someone this system. If I can't, then it's like, well, maybe I need to know that person or that vendor, or that area of the business, and I don't have that person. If I keep being asked for it. But I believe that honestly, especially in today's world and what we've gone through, you have to constantly be improving, constantly be changing, constantly thinking outside the box. How do I get in front of the people I need to? How do I assist them and make sure that they have the tools they need if they need them? But also, like for instance, it's like both Simon and Lori said. It's basically knowing who you work with in your own office, your own staff, and then also being able to then represent them the best. But it's basically going the extra mile. I have a realtor who called the other day because she had an issue that's just family related. It's just family related with some land they own in another area of Texas. And there was a quit claim deed on it, and that was not going to, it's kind of bogus. It's not going to work because it accidentally lists their lot. And what's going to happen is that we just had to get the title pulled. We had to get the chain of title pulled. But it's a little tiny county in Texas, and so they control all their title pulls. You have to be an abstract or a title company in that area. And so I actually called and found one for her and talked them through it. She's, Lori and Simon, y'all are professionals in real estate. You know that contract in and out. But you come to us in title to get our information and to talk to our attorney. You know who the players are that you need to be in touch with and working with because they know their stuff. So that's where it's like she's a realtor. She knows her stuff. It's just the fact that she doesn't know what I'm supposed to know. And so that's why, I was able to help her and give her the info and say, call these guys, they'll take care of you. And yeah, with the extra mile, but it was also good information for me to know in the future if somebody else has the same issue, because it'll come up. Always something fun comes up in title.
So what I'm hearing from all three of you is that you guys go beyond the transaction. It's not merely just a gig-based or transactional-based business. It's actually part of life, which is fantastic. And then you really want to attract a team that also has that mindset that it is not gig-based or merely a transaction, but this is something that we want to invest into our buyer, seller, our clients' lives. For you, Kendra, it's investing into the realtor as well as the lender and the people around you. And for Simon, Lori, it's investing into the lives of the buyers and sellers as well as your vendor partners. Because as a realtor, I look at my vendor partners as a critical portion of my business, equally as much as building that team around that buyer or seller, because I think it's critical for them. So, and all of us, when we look at real estate, I look at it from the lens of an educational process, and I believe that all three of you share that. And I know that I've created curriculum, we've created workshops, we look at that. So when we're matching personality, we're matching the needs of our buyers, sellers, agents, vendor partners, etc. Are we also considering goals for future transactions, or a house being an asset and not a liability? Are we looking at the lifelong process of this? Is that critical in our team concept, or how we're approaching business as a team?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Because doesn't it change our aspect from, one, I'm going to match you with the right personality. Two, we're going to assess your needs. We're going to collect all the data necessary to get you to the place that you want to be. And then we're also going to show you multiple options in more of a mentoring or advisory mode, or a relationship mode, meaning that I can put you with multiple people that have great success and great tenure in taking somebody from a single property to multiple rentals, or paying off debt, or or establishing or generating additional income. Don't you think that plays an important role?
Absolutely, it does.
And it definitely does, for the reason of, sorry, Simon, for especially in this market where it's changed a little bit. The rates are low. And so Lori and Simon may have somebody that sold or bought a home from them or was going to sell, or they decided to refinance. So it's good that they need, as well as I do, it has some really good lenders in our pocket, especially a variety of lenders that can offer a variety of products. And basically then they're able to either help refi, help buy a new home, help refi, take equity out to go buy another home, go buy a rental home. I mean, there's all, so it's the whole adage of know the market and be able to change it and adapt to it.
Right.
So, the transaction doesn't end there, right? That's the whole point of follow-up, making sure that it's not just a business transaction. You know, I'm your realtor, you're my client. It's important from the beginning to establish that personal relationship, but then the follow-up is so critical. I love to, you know, just make sure that, especially their first year, remind them, you know, about their homestead exemptions, make sure that they're filing for everything. When appraisal time comes around from the city, you know, I reach out as well to make sure that they need any, you know, help with providing data so that they can protest their taxes. But then it's the education piece of, okay, understanding, you know, when they close, what their APR rate. And now in the pandemic, you know, we saw such a decrease in interest rates. So it's reaching out to the clients who, you know, we're paying higher, and now they have the opportunity to refinance at a lower rate. So it's staying educated as a realtor and informing them of their options, you know, finding out what their long-term goals are, whether it's to pay off their house, whether it's to, you know, have rental properties, purchase land where they plan to build, you know, in 10 years. When you continue to follow up, you stay top of mind.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And we look at it from either a reactive lens, because they're going to move in, move out, move up, move down. And we know that. I mean, that's just what people do. But we can look at it from a proactive lens, Lori, what you're saying, and Kendra and Simon, is that if we educate people and we put the right team around them, then when we have a COVID crisis or we have something, that they are positioned correctly in their home to utilize as an asset and not a liability. It becomes a tool for them to get to where they want to be. So where we've said that we're going to help you find your dream home. And I know that this is going to you know, demystify the dream home thing. I don't believe in it. And the reason I don't believe in it, Sima, is because once you move into that dream home that you looked forward to, and it was a dream and it was exciting, the bathtub might be a little different than you expected. The closet might be a little too small. Well, you know what? I really wish I would have had a bigger attic space. Well, you know what? If I would have extended that patio another 14 feet, that would have been great. So your dream actually becomes a reality. So no longer it's a dream home. So where I go and would like to advise and give options is look at your home as a tool to help you accomplish your dreams and not just live in it. I absolutely want to have XYZ in a home. That's great aspirations. But I know that I can use this home as a tool, and that's where I think our team really helps people when they see their house in a different light, in a different lens than a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage on a corner lot by the school. Again, nothing wrong with that. But as we're going forward, we can show those options and lay them out and say, hey, listen, have you explored this? So, Sima, go into the next question. How can I grow my team? Because as you as a real estate professional, let's just go with this frame. I want you to tell me how to grow your team professionally. How do you go about it? Seeking that team.
Looking for a combination. It needs to be a combination of people that I myself am comfortable with, I can trust. I think for all of us who are on this show right now, our core values are integrity, trust, and so it needs to be people, who definitely have integrity, people that I can trust, I can rely on. I don't overthink. So for me personally, it is people that I say, hey, you know what? Here's my client. This is what they're needing. I'm handing them over to you, and from that point on, I know that they're in good hands. They will be taken care of. Their needs will be taken care of. So that is one of the things. The second thing is, uh, it is a set of people that I can depend on, I can work with. So we have similar, we function in a similar way. So when they take over, we're working in sync. We are working together. It's not an ego issue. It's not saying who's better than the other. It's just, joining hands, and you want the best for each other, and you want the best for your client.
Fantastic. What about you, Lori? As far as how should I build my team? What am I looking for? How am I reaching out? How am I getting that team?
Well, it's identifying people that you want to work with, like-minded people, and then also figuring out everybody's strengths and weaknesses. I love working with buyers. I love working with renters as well. I know not a lot of people want to handle rentals, but to me, I think about, they're eventually going to buy. As long as I continue to educate them on how they can get to the buying process, they will become future homeowners, right? So focusing on your team members and what you're lacking personally and with the people you're already working with, and trying to find those gaps, right? And seeing, okay, who is strong at this, and just bringing the same type of people with personalities around you.
Perfect. So identifying gaps. Love that, Lori. So how in your business are you identifying gaps?
To me, I think it's more, what I'm not doing. I know I should be marketing more. So identifying partners who focus on that. Title companies provide great education. So reaching out to them, asking them what type of trainings that they have so that I can become a better marketer, right? So that I'm out there, I'm top of mind, that I'm recruiting new clients, getting referrals, word of mouth. But I think it's just, writing it down and figuring out, okay, where can you use more help with?
Right. And then in your relationship with your client, you're also going to be able to find some gaps, correct? Because they're going to have questions. And they might have a question that would be better fit for an inspector, or a question that would be appropriate for an attorney, or a question that might be appropriate for a roofer. And while we uphold a certain code of ethics as realtors, we stay in our lane, and that's really important. So we need to have that team around us. So when we identify the gaps, we actually become better listeners.
To add to that, with lenders, especially when clients start talking and they want to know the different types of loans that are offered and the ins and outs, I immediately tell them, let me call one of my partners, let's get you introduced. That's their area of expertise. The last thing I want to do is set unrealistic expectations for my wrong information, right? So to me, I think I look more powerful when I say, let me bring an expert in that industry. Let me, you have a question about the roof, let me call my roofer, because I know all the people that I work with are available to take those calls 24/7. That's why I have them as my partners.
Absolutely. So Kendra, what do you think as far as how would you, because you have been a licensed real estate agent. So you've worked in that world, and now you're with Fidelity National Title Company, and so you work in building your team there. So what are your advice, or what would be your steps in growing that team?
So before COVID, before COVID hit, it was networking. It was literally being in front of the realtors in their offices, going into the major brokerage firms around town, the small ones, getting to know people, basically picking up that phone and phone calling and talking to realtors I don't know, and just trying to get a meeting or just get a meeting face to face in my office and coffee, lunch, but just and on the other side of that, because I have an office that I have a training space in, I have offered CE classes and been able to offer CE classes, and then also fun events for realtors and lenders. Now in our world we're living in now, same thing, but mostly making a phone call, picking up and making a phone call, trying to get in front of people that know me, that don't know me, remind them I'm here. More emails, but also we did a lot of virtual CE classes. So my team got together, the sales team from all of our offices, and we had some Zoom CE classes. And as time progressed, it became much more and more successful, and we had 20 to 30 people on a call. And it was with our attorney who did a lot of our CE classes that were legal related, which is what most realtors need. And even some lenders need some of their CE that they need every year. But in today's world, it's a lot about phone calling and really trying to get in front of somebody. We don't really do a lot of CE classes in August and in July and August because that's when most people are selling. And then they go on vacation. Even this year, people are still going on vacation some, or school starts. And now people are having to get acclimated to school starting again and having to do virtual or online for some of it. So we've kind of pulled back, but we'll start again in September, because that's also the way I get in front of realtors. And with me, it's not just getting in front of a realtor once. And again, it's touching them 12 to 15 times. And that could be a text, that could be a phone call, it could be an IM, it could be email, it could be let's go meet, it could be in my office. It's a variety of times because it's front of mind. It's front of mind. So.
Excellent. So what I'm taking from this, and I think it was really kind of an unspoken term, but it's communication. We have to communicate, and which is going to segue into our next question. But communication, I believe, is extremely important. Not only listening to our buyers and sellers, which I think is a number one thing, but also listening to our vendor partners is another thing. So being an excellent listener, I think, is something that we all could work on. I know that I could work on it because we get busy, right? There's a lot of moving pieces in real estate. There's a lot of moving pieces in life, just in general. So when you can focus and hone in and train yourself to listen, I think we become better people. I think we become better professionals. We become better advisors. We become better connectors. I think that is a really important thing. The other part of communication that you guys didn't touch on, but maybe you are doing it, you just didn't mention it. Do you ever cast the vision and the mission statement to your partners, to the people, your team, saying, here's what we want to accomplish. Here's what I'm in it for.
So Brian, good communication is also a leadership skill. If you want to be an effective leader, key to being an effective leader is having great communication skills, to be able to listen to what your clients, your partners, people around you are talking about, and it is something that you have to build on, and you have to you have to nurture it within yourself. I feel it's very important so that you're able to lead your clients, guide them, like you're talking about a mission statement. You're able to redefine even their vision, what they initially started off with, and with your guidance, or at least you advise them and you tell them that perhaps do this way, do certain things a certain way. I feel that you have to continuously, again, the name of your show, we have to continuously redefine ourselves as well. And redefining ourselves, it comes in different shapes and forms. Education, keeping up with changing times. What our dynamics have completely changed with COVID. We are having to reach out to our clients, do things differently, and it's going to continuously keep on evolving. 2020, I feel, will redefine our lives.
Right. So spending the last 12 years coaching real estate agents, one of the things that I found is that I didn't hear a lot of mission statements. I didn't hear a lot of vision statements. I heard how many transactions we wanted to close. I heard how many buyers or sellers we wanted to have. I heard even from the teams that I'm building now, the number of clients, or it was a money goal, or it was a, hey, I want a travel goal, and none of those are bad, and not knocking that at all. But when we have a mission statement or vision statement, I've shared that with you already, as impact families. We want to, in order to impact enough families, we're going to actually build stronger and better neighborhoods, and then we're going to build stronger communities. And when that begins to spread, then that's what I communicate to my team around me. So Simon and Laura, you've heard me say this multiple times, and Kendra, I believe that we've probably talked about it once or twice as well. But I put that out a lot, because if you're going to resonate as a part of the team, you're also going to buy into the vision and the mission. And if you don't buy into the vision and mission, guess what? Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just means that you might not be the best fit for this group. Because when we go talk to somebody, we could talk to a business owner, has nothing to do about real estate, but we're always impacting families. We're building better neighborhoods, and we're building stronger communities. And if that is our banner that we're flying under, I want to tell you, that is a powerful thing that I believe in building a team that we miss at times. We don't articulate our mission and vision of what we would like to accomplish. And you're exactly right, Simon. When we're talking about communication, it is a key point of being a leader. Not only am I listening correctly, but I'm also articulating a direction and where I'm headed. And if you want to go, that's great. And if you don't, then what's your vision and where are you headed? So go ahead.
Just to kind of touch on that, I think one of the things is it's not in a different way to kind of create that or to discuss that for a realtor or lender is how have you branded yourself? Have you branded yourself, and what is your brand? And in a way, to me, your brand also is a direct correlation to your vision and your mission. So we do a vision board here. We usually try to do one in December. Then we did it in January and again in February, right before COVID hit. So it's kind of funny. We all laughed about that. We had about 8 people here doing their vision board right before, 2 weeks before. But it also was, what's your brand? What about you do you want to get out there that people can relate to, or that you want them to know? Okay, I have a passion for working with, veterans. I have that type of thing. What is it that I stand for? I want to build a better neighborhood. What is it that you stand for? It's kind of like your brand also is a direct correlation for your vision and your mission.
Absolutely. It just gives us the road to communicate. It gives us boundaries. It gives us a place so we're not a professional like a glass of water poured on a table with no boundaries. It just flows everywhere. But we are specific. It doesn't mean that we can't venture out and do other things, but we are extremely targeted. I agree with that. So let's go with this last question. Is it important to communicate on an individual basis or on a group basis or both? And how do you guys incorporate that? I know that's a lot of questions, and I'm happy to repeat them. And Kendra, do you want to take the lead, or Sima, with a big smile, do you want to take the lead?
Kendra?
Kendra, you've been elected.
Oh, me? Okay, great. Okay, wait. So on an individual basis, I think it's important on all. It should just be, again, if it's your vision, your brand, it's kind of like it follows you. It's a part of you. It's a part of what you put out there individually when you speak with someone. It's a part of when you're email or you're texting or writing a thank you note. It's a part of your social media. It's just a part of, you're just incorporating that into every aspect, I believe. And again, it's just you're branding you. And if you look at a lot of people that are really successful in real estate, they have a mission or a vision statement, or they've got both, but it's also very it's somewhat goal oriented, but it's a brand. They live it.
So with you personally, are you communicating? I know you already said communicating as an individual, but let's say you took all of your agents and as many as you have, and you brought them all into a collaborative environment, all your lenders and all your agents, and talk to them as a group. Is that important?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to tell you, a lot of times it's scary to do that. Why? Because it takes that competition and it kind of puts it on the sideline and said, hey, listen, guys, if we're a team and this is a vision and mission, you're going to have to put your competitive, quote unquote, ego, just leave it at the door, pick it up after. You're fine, because I love competition along with anybody. But I want to tell you, it begins to create such a neat vibe and buzz. I did this years ago, and I created a networking group. I brought in people, and I had some people say, well, I don't want another insurance person in here. And I'm like, well, you're just going to have to figure this out, because I have 5 other cool people just like you that want to come in here, and they're all insurance agents. And we had a ball. We had more business. We had more communication. Why? Because we had a mission and a vision. I think it's really important to be able to communicate that with people. And guess what? It increases the bandwidth to generate more business, generate more leads, because of the vibe. The buzz around that was phenomenal. It was terrific. Sima?
Brian, go ahead and repeat those questions again.
Okay. So number 1 was, is it important to communicate to your team individually or as a group or both?
So I think definitely both, because the team consists of different pieces. There are different pieces of the puzzle, and everyone has different strengths and weaknesses. So individually, you communicate so that you can make sure you can collaborate and you're on the same page. And once again, you still need to be able to communicate as a team, because I think as a team, certain goals are different. You collaborate in a different way. Individually, there's a different synergy. You collaborate on a different scale. So both different, both are different pieces of the puzzle, and you have to work them out, communicate, and help each other differently.
Excellent. I totally agree with that. And everybody has different strengths. But the good thing is we take all 4 of us. And if I had a question that I throw out there, or an object I'm looking at, or a situation, I could ask all 3 of you. And guess what? I'm going to get a different perception or perspective from each one of you. If I'm wise, then I'll take all 3 of those. I'll begin to study those and open my eyes to see the situation or circumstance in a different manner. I just got done with a crazy thing. I found myself in a pickle, and I called one of my buddies and said, hey, listen, here's the situation. What would you do? Well, I got their eyes on it. And then I called another friend of mine that I trust in, and that's part of my team. Here's the situation. And then I asked my wife, because I needed counsel. And guess what? There's a scripture that says there's wisdom in a counsel of many. It's a principle, and it's fantastic. But there were 3 sets of eyes that looked at the situation and said, Brian, I would do this, this, and this. And all 3 of them said the same thing they didn't even know I talked to each other. And that was wisdom for me because I looked at it from a different angle. I didn't see it. So I really believe it gets rid of, when we have a team and we're communicating collectively, it really eliminates a lot of blind spots and allows us to become a better professional. And that's the greatest part. Put competition aside. We all want to grow. But if you put us in a collaborative environment, a community, a team with one mission and one vision, we will rock and roll. And I agree with that all day, every day. So Lori, what's your take on that long question that I have?
So on the individual level, obviously it's very important, right? You'll never hear anybody say you're over communicating. Like, I rather be over communicated to than not know what's going on. I think it's important in all aspects of life, right? In business, professional, in your family, right? I mean, your spouse, that you all are communicating, that y'all are on the same page of things. On a team level, I love working with other realtors as well. I don't see it as competition. I think there's enough business to go around, but I like to hear their thoughts on how they've addressed a problem that I might be dealing with. But then, there's ideas there. I would say half of my best friends right now are in the real estate industry, are also realtors, and we don't see it as not talking about it because it's going to be awkward. I mean, we talk about our transactions, we talk about things that went well, things that went wrong, and we collaborate on how we can make this a better process for us and for our clients. But communication, as everybody has stated, is critical in our industry. And then it's just sharing of the mind, right? Sharing ideas, finding out what works best and what somebody else does best, because then you at least know that that's who you can turn to should you face any problems.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So that's been one of my belief systems, and one of my core values is to have that great communication, to be open, transparent, trustworthy, to be honest. I mean, you be honest with yourself and honest with others, and to have that element of truth. Because when you have truth in there, as hard as it seems sometimes, and truth is hard to swallow at times, truth is not always easy. And fear is avoidance. But truth, when you get into it and you take it, it will liberate you in the end of the process of truth. Because at least you know what to deal with. And when you have that team that you can trust and you can collaborate, you might have 3 insurance agents and 3 lenders and 3 title people and 3 agents in a room, but you all get there and you put everything aside, and it goes into that vision and mission. And this is what's important. And this is what we do at Redefining Real Estate, because we want to look at it different. So when we work with buyers and sellers, it's not the same old, same old. We actually did our due diligence. We listened to our counterparts. We learned what the market trends are. We learned how to be adaptive yet proactive, instead of just sitting there and hoping and praying something will change. We actually become proactive in change when we collaborate as a group. And I think that is really important as we grow, as well as other people grow. You grow as a community. And I really believe, they said, raising family takes a tribe. Well, I have 5 kids, so tribe was really good for me. Well, I want to make sure that as we grow business, we're also building that community, quote unquote, tribe, and that we are all helping each other. And I think that's terrific. And one of the things I just want to put a plug in here, Sima, you and Lori, I mean, we're on the same team, and that's awesome. And I want to make sure that you guys are promoted and have all the resources and the tools that you need to be successful. And Kendra, you are been grafted in as part of our group as well. I appreciate you guys being on here. I think the communication tools are great. I think that growing our team, we're just going to continue to get better. And we want to share that with other people. Just saying, hey, listen, build your team. And if you're a buyer or seller, I think it's critical and important that you begin to build a team around you. You may need a roofer when there's not anybody else around. You might need that electrician. You might need that plumber. You might need the landscaper. You might need a tree removal. There are so many things in real estate that the team is just a really important part to it. So we look at that, especially from a redefining aspect of it. So, Lyndon, I know you're in the background. Do you have any closing remarks or thoughts?
I am in the background. I've been watching this and enjoying it all. You guys did a great job. It's kind of like what I sent you a little bit earlier. I think in business development for almost 20 years, and a limited budget and marketing, it was imperative that I built good relationships that lasted, because I think that's where I think you can generate income from referral sources and casual relationships, but I think that your wealth comes from retaining the relationships and building and adding to that. And so I think that you've got to bond in such a way that whoever you're working with, whether it's a partner, whether it's a client, they feel like that no one can solve their problems the way that you can. And if you can really bond, we talk about being introduced and we talk about connecting, but you rarely hear anybody say, I bonded, because that's on a deep level. And Brian, you and I've talked about that. You've got to go deep with that. And when you make that friend, when you really create that relationship, they're not looking to move. And so if I can secure that and now go secure another and now go secure another, in 10 years, I have built a network that transactional people cannot infiltrate.
Right. Absolutely. And I want to tell you, just the synergy, the energy, the vibe from your team that you're building should always encourage and inspire you. It will talk you off the ledge when you're on the ledge. It will energize you when you're feeling down in the dumps, and when it's rainy and you need to go and go out, it will motivate you to do the things that you need to do to help the people that we need to help. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. A big shout out to Sima and to Lori and to Kendra. Thank you for being our guest today. The show was fantastic. I learn a lot each and every time that I'm on the show. So, guys, I'm Brian Dobbs, and we have Redefining Real Estate. We want to encourage you to find us on Facebook, to reach out, build your team, get better communication with you individually as well as a group. So thank you again for signing on and tuning in to us with Redefining Real Estate every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Central Daylight Time. I'll see you next week.